Those who have you joined, Mr. Krishna, very, very good evening. So let us quickly go through what is it that we have in store for us. Tell me something. What are at least top two expectations of you from this particular, I would say, webinar or a program? At least top two expectations. You can mention them in the chat box, please. Yeah, are you there? Can you hear me? What are at least top two expectations from this particular program? Very nice. Now we see more people joining in. Very, very good evening, all of you. Welcome to the webinar, which is basically a bootcamp webinar for the program Sales First Entrepreneurship. Joining with me is Mr. Peter Samuel, who was the former MD and country head for Berkadia, which is one of the Warren Buffett's company. And he's also a certified executive coach from John Maxwell's leadership team. And he has more than, I would say, 3.5 decades of experience of leading teams and building leadership teams. And to quickly introduce myself, I'm Rajiv ISR, Bachelor's Masters from IIT Madras, MBA from MIT Sloan School of Management. While I have my own company called EV Masterclass, and I mentor startups at T Hub and ISP Hyderabad. This particular initiative, which myself and Mr. Peter Samuel have taken, it is more out of curiosity to encourage young and aspiring entrepreneurs as you. So the first thing to understand, we will request this particular webinar or the next couple of minutes that we stay together to be as much interactive as possible. Kindly be as interactive as possible. Uh, Please respond to the questions via chat and understand this is your investment of your time, and it is your responsibility to kind of reap whatever the benefits reap the benefits of investing your time. Number one, what is career and why is it so important? What is career and why is it so important? Come on, quickly. You can mention in the chat box. Uh, Everyone able to respond, right? You're able to respond. What is career and why is it so important? Go ahead, please. Mention in the chat box. Yeah. I'm just sharing you a couple of, I would say, images, and I really want you to let us know what is it that you're observing on the slides here. Anybody? Any quick guesses? Mr. Rahul, Uday, Shiv Kumar, Mr. Shankar. What do you think these are? Mr. Prudvi? What do you think these are? Life cycle? Absolutely. Correct. We are born and then we are gone. Okay. Now, let me ask you a question. How many of you chose your parents? Quickly, you may raise your hands. How many of you chose your parents? Not me. Okay. How many of you at least chose when to be born? That I want to be born on this particular day, time? I'm sure not many, right? Yeah. How many of you can choose your family, the children you may born? I mean, you may You might consider how many of you can actually choose them. Definitely no, right? And in fact, in some cases in India, not many can choose their life partners too. Yeah. And definitely you can never choose when you're going to die. So in this so-called life cycle, right, we have very few choices to make, right? You begin and then you end, and there are different stages in between. You have very, very few choices to make. And when you have very few choices to make, why not at least one choice that we can all make is career, right? If there is somebody who cannot even make a choice in the career, I think then that's really a very tragedy and irony, right? So if you look at your complete life cycle, more than 70% of your time, even before your better halves enters into your life, your career enters. And right from the age of early 20s till the 70s, your career stays with you. And in certain cases, even after 70s. So if career is something that stays so long with us, don't you think it is a wise thing to make a better choice of what this career is? Do you agree? If you agree, can you type that yes, I agree? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can select to everyone and then respond. Okay, great. Now, if that is so, then why should we spend time working, slogging? Well, I definitely respect working. I definitely respect being good at your profession. But then beyond certain point, I'm sure you have always thought that you could add much better value when you start things on your own. Do you agree with that? So, in the next probably couple of minutes, what we're going to ponder upon is what is entrepreneurship? Can it really be taught? And what are your expectations from the 2 day program? How many of you have gone through the brochure of the 2 day boot camp that we are going to have at the world's largest incubator called T Hub on 19th and 20th of Jan? How many of you went through the particular brochure? If you have gone through, maybe you can mention that you have gone through, right? Yeah. So I'm sure you would have all these thoughts, right? Yeah, I want to become an entrepreneur, but is it really easy to become one? How can I become one? Is there a set path to become an entrepreneur? I'm sure all of these questions would have come to your mind. Let me not indulge more into the theoretical aspects of it. We all know entrepreneur, the very ultimate meaning of entrepreneur is undertaker. Well, even if you agree, even if you believe it or not, we are all entrepreneurs. That's what the evolution of mankind shouts to us, right? Before the so-called the medium of transaction called money has come into picture, how do people used to trade their goods and services? What is the system that was in place? Okay, Mr. Rudra, you didn't receive the brochure yet. We will send it to you. They were exchanging their goods and services, right? The farmers exchange their produce with the butchers, the artisans and the miners and the physicians and the priests and the poets and the scribes and the merchants. They all exchange. What does that mean? Everybody undertakes one specific particular responsibility, and then he undertakes and he exchanges his produce or his output with the other goods and services. So, which means evolution shouts that everybody is an entrepreneur. But of course, after the industrial revolution and other things that have come into picture, we have gone into more and organized working. Are you here with me? Do you agree with me? Yeah. And what is the role of an entrepreneur in nation building? Let me ask you a question, guys. Let me ask you a question. India, India is marching towards a $5 trillion economy. In fact, if you look at the number of years that India has taken from becoming a $1 trillion economy to two and two to three and now close to four, the number of years are actually shrinking between one milestone to the other milestone. What do you think could be the reason? What do you think could be the reason? Have we increased the number of PSUs? Have we increased the number of, I would say, government organizations? Have we increased the number of government companies? No. A wealth is being created within the country. And who is creating that wealth? Entrepreneurs slash aspiring entrepreneurs like you and me, right? Let me go a little deeper, right? So this is just for your understanding, right? These are 2021 stats. 41,000 startups were recognized by the government in 2021. And by 2023, this number has gone up to 1.6 lakhs. Understand this, 4x in just 3 years' time. And these are just recognized startups. That means startups which would have registered themselves into DPIIT, Startup India, Stand Up India as portals. Reports say that there are at least 8 to 10x of this number of startups that are not yet registered, but they are still working. A lot of job creation basically happens through these startups. And only in the year 2021, we are talking about 40 startups becoming, I would say, unicorns roughly. And by 2022, 2023, the number has crossed few hundreds. Look at this. Flipkart started in 2007. GoIBO started in 2007. Ola started in roughly 2010. Oyo started in 2013-14. And all of these are more than $1 billion valued unicorns. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you think Flipkart alone was the startup that started in 2007 that has become started in 2007? Or do you think there are at least few hundreds of startups that would have started? My quick question. Please participate and please respond. I'm sure, right? Few tens of hundreds of startups would have started along with Flipkart, but right now only Flipkart alone remains to be a unicorn. What could be the reason? What could be the reason? Come on, Mr. Sashi, Mr. Ruday, Mr. Anirudh, Miss Meera, Likita. What could be the reason? Why only few unicorns? What happened to the rest of the startups? Okay, sales value, business turnover. Okay, what else? You may please respond to everyone. Yeah. Okay. What else? What could have happened? You know what? That's the biggest mistake most of the people or most of the entrepreneurs make. What is that we do? The minute we conceive an idea, the minute we conceive an idea, and then the minute we assume that this is going to be the next biggest thing, we quickly jump into building a product or building a service and exhaust all our energy, resources, efforts into building a product, only to find out once it is done, probably after 12 months, 15 months, or 18 months of, I would say, efforts, when you take that into the market, only then you realize that there are no takers for that particular product. Do you agree with me? This is exactly what we call as product validation, market validation, product market fit, customer validation, or whatsoever. There are multiple names for the same. And one of the easiest ways to get such kind of a validation, even before you spend your time, efforts, money, energy into it, is through your ability of bringing your customer orders even before you build your startup. That is bringing an LYI, bringing an order, getting a payment from the customer even before you venture into the market and even before you build your product. Now, let me ask you a question. Is it really possible to bring a customer order even before you get into the market? Is it really possible? Well, from a conventional perspective, that may not be possible. But that's where, with the experience that we bring together, Mr. Peter Samuel and myself, we have been working with startups for the last couple of years, mentoring startups at T-Hub, mentoring startups at IIT Madras, mentoring startups at ISB Hyderabad. And we have developed frameworks through which startups get to validate their ideas, startups get to bring sales first, and startups gets to succeed. That's where we have designed and derived the sales first entrepreneurship program, which we are going to do at the world's largest incubator called T-Hub on the 19th and 20th of Jan. How many of you have heard of this particular sales first entrepreneurship workshop before? Otherwise, I really want to take you much deeper on what is it that we are going to learn at the Sales First Entrepreneurship Workshop. How many of you have had any idea about it?
मैं बोल दूं क्या? मुझे आइडिया है। कहाँ है हाथ उठाने वाला यार? हाँ, yes sir. हाँ? No, no. फिर आइडिया पूछेगा वो।
Mr. Ramashankar, is there anything that you want to share with us? Okay, let me quickly open up those things. What is it that we have in store for this particular Sales First Entrepreneurship Workshop? The Sales First Entrepreneurship Workshop majorly focuses upon number one, helping you to develop your idea, use multiple frameworks to build your idea into a product or an MVP, take that particular MVP or a product to the potential customers that you have in place, sell that particular product to the customer, and then come back. In the process, what happens? Number one, your customer either loves your product and then buys that, or number two, your customer gives you insights which you can quickly incorporate into your business or a service and again go back to the customer. Or number three, the idea is completely trashed and then or squashed, and then maybe you'll have to go ahead with the next biggest idea. So the Sales First Entrepreneurship Workshop helps you or takes you through this entire entrepreneurial journey over the next 2 days. Now, also from a leadership perspective, how to choose a team, how to choose the co-founders, how to build the leadership traits in your particular organization, and how, as a team, you will together achieve the bigger goal that you have been talking about is going to be covered through the particular program. At this point of time, I would like to invite Mr. Peter Samuel, who is the co-facilitator and co-coach, the certified leadership coach from Maxwell Leadership Team, to give insights on what would be covered more from a leadership and behavioral and the other perspectives. Yeah, over to you, Mr. Peter Samuel.
Yeah. Thank you, Rajiv, and thank you all of you for having taken your time in the middle of the week, just in the beginning of New Year. So, wish you all a productive and a fruitful 2024. It's nice to see you take time today to join this webinar. As Rajiv has been talking about, there's a lot of uh, you know experience that has gone into this whole module of this boot camp. This is one of its kind.
అకౌంట్ లో
Nobody has.
బంగారం ఉందిగా తీసేద్దాం అది. ఇప్పుడు
I'm
మన దగ్గర ₹1,00,000 బంగారం ఉంది కదా,
I'm just muting the.
బ్యాచెస్ లో ఇడిపిద్దాం, అది అమ్మేసేద్దాం. అది నా బ్యాంక్ లో ఉన్నది, అన్ని వడ్డీ.
Yeah. Now you're able to hear me? Yeah. Thank you, Rajiv. Yeah. So with that said, our whole desire and aim is to help people not to really burn their fingers first and then come back and regret for what they try to venture, but we want to really help people who have an idea or even don't have an idea to go through this boot camp and really tap into your inborn purpose. When we get connected to the purpose, it actually fuels in taking whatever idea that you have into reality. So that is the crux of this 2-day program or the boot camp. The additional benefit that you get is, as Rajiv has mentioned, each one of us is entrepreneurs. At the same time, each one of us are leaders as well. So to that extent, one of the important aspects when it comes to leadership, or even as individuals, when it comes to career, when it comes to starting something on our own, we struggle when it comes to making decisions. It's always a challenge. And if you really know the power of decision making, the skill to take a decision, it will make our life easier. So that is one thing that we want to really help you understand in the most simple manner. Just few questions that you need to ask before you even consider about an idea or a thought. That is one. The second one is a robust 7-step process on the power of today. Every day is a fresh day, a day filled with opportunity. We have stepped into a new year, and new year is filled with so many opportunities as we progress. But as we all know, it all comes one day at a time. So if you lose out today, today is gone. 2024, 3rd of January will be over at 12 o'clock today. So if you really discover the power of today and focus on certain things which are important, not just from an entrepreneurship, not just from a leadership, it is at the core of who we are as an individual. And when you go through that process of knowing the power of today, then you'll make the best use of each day. And then you can take your entrepreneurship forward. So it's a two-pronged approach. One is to really dive deep, discover yourself within through the framework and get connected to your purpose, and then move on to actually develop the idea. Alongside, you'll also discover the power of today and how to make better decisions. So it is fully loaded. I mean, to bring it up in 2 days is quite intense, but we wanted to really keep it tight so that you make the best use of every minute that you spend. So we are excited to do this right at the beginning of 2024. And trust both of us, we are doing it more out of our passion to help the next gen entrepreneurs. Probably some of you who are right here would be the future of some startups, some unicorns. We don't even know. So never underestimate the potential that you have and for the purpose that you have been created. Thank you, Rajiv.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. So anyway, the benefits of starting up definitely are not new to you. But let me quickly dwell upon them and then take you through certain case studies of how certain startups have become really, really successful and how you can actually become really successful. In the next probably 15 to 20 minutes, what we're going to talk about is how different startups have become really successful. And we focus towards the end more on the program and then the sessions that we are going to have on the next 2 days. The first one, definitely, entrepreneurship is one opportunity that provides you to create a great wealth, and not just create the great wealth and distribute the same, creates large scale employment opportunities, promotes capital formation, reduces concentration of economic power, not limiting it to only the cities and the metros, promotes balanced regional development. In fact, it helps in increasing the gross national product and per capita income. That's what we have just seen, right? That the number of years that India as a nation taking from moving from $1 trillion to 2 to 3 to 4 is just shrinking. Definitely promotes countries' export trade, and it induces the backward and forward linkages, that is basically either from a production, manufacturing, supply chain perspective, and facilitates overall development. This is more from a nation building perspective. However, what are the benefits that you as an individual, when you take up this less traveled path called entrepreneurship, what is it that you gain? Number one, it gives you an opportunity to create your own destiny. It gives you an opportunity to make a difference, an opportunity to reach your full potential in all realms and aspects. And of course, the benefits that you reap will be definitely highly disproportionate, a great recognition, and an opportunity finally, because as we discussed, more than 70% of our years we spend working. It is better we engage in a work of our choice than to lament and work. Now, let me ask you a question. Are you convinced to become an entrepreneur? Are you convinced to take the path less traveled? Can I see quick responses on the chat if you are convinced? If you are convinced, you may type yes. Perfect. Great, great, Saurav. Great, great, Mr. Shivkumar. Very nice. Yeah. Now, this is great. This is great. But what is entrepreneurship? What is innovation? What is startups? And what does it mean? What does it mean to us? And can entrepreneurship be really, really be taught? Can it be really taught? I'm sure most of us have all these questions, right? What is entrepreneurship? What is innovation? What are these jargons that are being used? And they can really be taught. Let me ask you a quick question at this point of time. How many of you think that entrepreneurship can actually be taught? And how many of you think that entrepreneurship cannot be taught? Yeah? Can entrepreneurship be taught? Yes or no? Okay. So I'm just launching a quick poll here, and I really want to understand. Yeah. Can entrepreneurship be taught? Yes or no? You may quickly answer. Okay. Hmm. It is a tiebreaker. 50% of the participants say that yes, entrepreneurship can be taught. Okay, now it is increasing. Okay, okay. I'm just about to end the poll. Anybody yet to participate in the poll, please do that. Okay, so I'm ending the poll and sharing the results. Okay, so look at this. 63% say that entrepreneurship can be taught, and 38% say that entrepreneurship cannot be taught. Well, in fact, let me tell you, even I was of the same opinion that entrepreneurship cannot be taught. I thought, while I was doing my engineering from IIT Madras and even preparing for my JE, I always thought it is always mathematics, physics, chemistry that needs to be taught. And when I started my own entrepreneurial journey of building a company, I was learning a lot many things which otherwise could have been taught and would have helped me to avoid a lot of pitfalls. For example, let me go a little step deeper and ask you this question. Were you taught these things? Were you taught to walk, bicycle, swim, code, or even your basic mathematics, algebra, etc.? Were you taught, or as soon as you were born, you started walking, you started cycling, you started swimming? Okay, if your answer to these questions is that you are taught, you are educated, you are made to learn, then what brings us to a conclusion that entrepreneurship is something that we need to discover on by own and on our own, and it cannot be taught, right? I don't think that's the, I would say, a right hypothesis. So it is with that hypothesis we thought that yes, entrepreneurship can be taught and it needs to be taught very systematically. But then, if even if entrepreneurship could be taught, why should one learn about entrepreneurship? Quick answers, please. Why should one learn about entrepreneurship? Why? Why should one learn? The answer is simple, right? The answer is simple. But before that, if there are some fans here of the superheroes, tell me who would win between these two? Will Iron Man win or Hulk win? Who would win between these two? I'm not running a poll. You can just mention in the chat. Will Iron Man win or Hulk win? Well, this is definitely on a way a tougher question to answer. Now, let me ask this. Who will win now? Of course, Hulk, right? Of course, Hulk. Now, what does it mean? This is what being learned, being taught, being prepared versus what the other one says. Right? Why you should learn? Because it makes you equipped, it helps you to avoid pitfalls, and it definitely helps you to succeed faster. That's why you have mentors. That's why you have coaches. That's why you have support system to startups in the form of T-Hub these days to ensure that one succeeds. Well, what is entrepreneurship? Entrepreneurship, simply from the terms of it, right? The act of setting up a business. Okay, that's a good question. Can you teach and make everyone bicycle, but can you teach and make everyone an entrepreneur? Very, 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 I would say, brilliant question, Mr. Chakradhar. See, there are two things, right? Definitely, entrepreneurship is not a cup of tea for everyone. But what happens is when you allow them to simulate their startup, when you allow them to try their startup, when you allow them to experiment on their startup in a I would say controlled environment or in a limited environment or through an opportunity where one gets to spend less efforts and less resources and still get an opportunity to see the whole journey, at least he will have a realization. That is what Mr. Peter Samuel was mentioning, right? Discovering yourself. At least you will be able to discover whether one is cut and fit for entrepreneurship or not. At least that clarity you will have. Those who are able to make it will definitely succeed, and those who are not able to make it, absolutely, they will succeed elsewhere. We are not saying that it is only through entrepreneurship one would succeed, but we are saying that if you have that zigor, if you have that rigor, if you have that but that I want to try something on my own, why limit to yourself when you have a great support system that can help you build your dreams? Yeah, that's my question. I hope I was able to answer your question, Mr. Chakradhar, but brilliant point being brought out. So what is entrepreneurship? Very simple, right? In simple and minimalistic terms, it is the art or activity of setting up a business, taking on financial and many other risks in the hope of profit. It could be embarking a proven journey. For example, Uber is a proven journey in the West, and Ola is something somebody tried to mimic it. Amazon was a proven journey in the West, and Flipkart is something that is tried here. Well, Airbnb was a proven journey in the West. Oyo has been tried here. Well, there are certain other ideas. There are certain other ideas which, one second. There are certain, I would say, other ideas which actually took their birth in India right now, and then they moved from, they moved to the Western things from here. So, yeah, one second, I will have to do something here. There is some disturbance. Yeah. Okay. So basically, what happens is it is embarking a proven journey, which could be new, which need not be new, but it is all about the opportunity to build a company of yours. And it could be multiple ways, right? It could be a factory, it could be a manufacturing one, it could be a traded one, it could be an e-commerce business, doesn't really matter. It could be a physical product, and in certain cases, it could be a technology product, doesn't really matter. But everybody gets an opportunity to build. Everybody gets an opportunity to build an enterprise of their own. Now, we have looked at entrepreneurship, right? Entrepreneurship definitely is an art of building a business. But what is innovation? And why is innovation required? We're going to quickly look at it. Innovation is nothing but a new idea, a creative thought, or either in the form of a device or a method or whatsoever, which basically provides or offers a better solution that meets requirements which could be new, existing, non-existing, unarticulated needs. Example, did somebody tell Bhavish Agarwal that I want an app to book a cab? Or did somebody tell, I would say, Byju's or Akash that I would like to learn, I would like to prepare myself at the comfort of the click of a button? Did somebody tell the Swiggy founders that, hey, I would like to order the food, right, from wherever I am? Not necessarily, right? Some of them could be unarticulated needs, but it is all about, were we able to identify those unarticulated needs? Were we able to build better solutions than the ones that exist in the market through our new idea or through our creative thought? Now, look at these particular brands that you see. Are you able to identify these brands? Can you quickly type these brands? Can you quickly mention these brands on the chat box? What is it that you see? There is one thing that is common among all these brands. Whether it is BlackBerry, whether it is Kodak, whether it is Nokia, Xerox, Chevrolet, or the Sony Walkmans, there is one thing that is common among all of these brands. Any idea what this could be? What is that commonality among all these brands? Come on, quickly mention in the chat box. One thing that is common among all these brands is, do you believe and agree that all these brands are big at one point of time? Yahoo, definitely. Snapdeal, absolutely. Xerox, so big that the very product, I would say, acquired its name, right? The very service acquired its name from the company. Chevy, General Motors, Nokia, connecting people, very, very bigger brands. Absolutely, Mr. Rahul Reddy. They have not upgraded with the user choices. Or the other way of telling that is, they have missed upon the bandwagon called innovation. Now, remember this. Some of you are aspiring entrepreneurs, right? You really want to build something, or some of you could be existing entrepreneurs. If such a huge damage could happen to these companies, which at one point of time enjoyed the market leaders' roles and position, how much are you and me? Do you think innovation is a must for all of us? Of course. But how can one get innovation? How can one bring innovation to the table, right? It doesn't happen just like that. You need constant mentoring, you need constant support, you need constant prompts, and you need constant vigilance and exposure to the frameworks through which you can bring innovation to the table. And that's exactly where we are going to spend our 2 hours at T-Hub on how do you bring innovation to your offering. On the other hand, look at the other things. Facebook, Oyo, Ola. How many cars does Ola manufacture? How much content that Facebook generate by themselves and then put it into the platform? How many products Flipkart manufactures? And how many hotels Oyo builds? The answer is zero. But what is it that they have done? They have discovered an innovative way of meeting the needs of the customers through a product or a solution, and thus build a business around it. So these are just few, I would say, case studies of multiple case studies that we are going to learn throughout the program. Well, we have looked at what is entrepreneurship, what is innovation, what is startup. Startup is all about embarking a new venture or undertaking a commercial one to develop a unique product or a service and bring that particular thing into the market. So the right approach is, if at all you're building a startup, you need to have an ecosystem support, you need to have innovation management, and you need to have the entrepreneurial exposure through the programs like this to ensure that you become a successful startup. So the comprehensive definition is, you will need to have an opportunity to identify the market needs, whether they are clear or existing ones, articulated or unarticulated ones, and offer better solutions to those problems in a new way and build a completely scalable and profitable business. Now, all the comprehensive decision and these red marks that you see, they cannot happen just like that. Well, in certain cases, in certain outliers, they could have happened by accident or by luck, but definitely not the case. That's exactly where myself and Mr. Peter Samuel, we bring plethora of our experience, and where we have created these frameworks which are right now deployed at the Indian School of Business Hyderabad. And those are the frameworks where we are going to expose them to you. For example, booking a taxi, looking for a restaurant, booking a ticket, how to find a house on rent, how to find a good doctor. Earlier, it was all done manually, or earlier, it was all done with a lot of efforts. But now we have products and companies meeting all those requirements, and all of them have become really, really valuable and unicorns. At this point of time, I would also like to take you through details of what is it that we are going to learn. What is it that we are going to learn in those 2 days of workshops that is happening at the world's largest incubator called T Hub. The first one, session one, what we're going to learn is we're going to understand what are those factors that are influencing entrepreneurship in India right now. Why is this the right time? Reflection onto the policies, and a further reinforcement of a thought that why one should consider entrepreneurship as a career. Immediately, we help you through our proven frameworks, analyze various industries that you are interested into, understand different opportunities in those industries, and pick one. We then a quick networking break where aspiring and existing entrepreneurs like you come together, exchange ideas, where there are possibilities that you might find the co-founders by yourself. And during session two, we take the help of this Japanese framework called Ikigai, where we try to align our passion and our purpose into our business. Again, none of this is theory oriented, all of this is metrics driven framework where the participant will objectively, you will score yourself and you will arrive objectively at your area of interest. And then we get into the power of today. Anna, would you like to dwell a little bit on what is it that the participants are going to gain through this power of today? I'm going to request you to unmute. Yeah.
Yeah, as I told just a few minutes back, these are different areas that we need to really, focus and become the best at. For example, I'm sure you would have heard this: more than aptitude and academics, attitude is important. So for us to succeed as individuals, either at our workplace or within our family or on this entrepreneurial journey, attitude matters. If you have watched the Three Idiots movie, this guy who jumps off because he said the dean says you'll be rusticated. So he comes to the interview in a wheelchair with half a dozen, fractures. And in the interview, the interviewer says that you need to be diplomatic. You can't be too straightforward. So if you look at the situation, he badly needs the job. But he says, I can't do that. And he tells in Hindi, he says, you keep your job with you, I'll keep my attitude with me. It's quite powerful. So as an example, so for each of these, you need to really focus on that. And when you go through those, we don't know whether we'll be able to do the 12-step framework within the time that we have, but we'll pick up maybe 6 or 7 important aspects. One is attitude, and a couple of others, so that you'll understand when you get good at managing one, then you move on to the other. So over a period of time, you know what to focus automatically because that's become a part of you. So that is the power of, then you make your today the most powerful. The second thing is priority. When you know how to prioritize, how important it is to prioritize. And when you get good at prioritizing, then you move on. So that is in a nutshell what you can gain by going through that 1 hour session or packed session to master all these important aspects that should become a part of your life.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you very much, Anna. Now, most of us, I mean, most of the startups that I've mentored, most of the youngsters that I've mentored, they have the zeal to start up, but then they come and say, Sir, I do not have an idea. How do I generate an idea? Is there a framework to generate an idea? That is one set of batch. Then there is another set of batch which say, Hey, I have hundreds of ideas to deal with. How do I pick the right idea to, I would say, to embark my entrepreneurial journey, right? So on one hand, you have people who are devoid of ideas, and on the other hand, you have people who are immersed with ideas, right? So that is where we have this next session. Idea, it helps people who do not have the ability or who do not have the ideas of starting on their own. It helps them to generate those ideas. Also, we have a 6-step framework which basically takes into consideration the trends in the market, the customer behavior, government policies. Are these government policies acting in favor to your idea or acting against you? Influence of black swan events such as COVID and lockdowns that we see right now, and many others. And the participants will be able to objectively again rank your ideas, validate those ideas, and arrive at your priority list of what could be your potential startup is. And a quick networking break. As the old sayings goes, define the problem rightly and you are half done. So once you generate the idea or once you validate that idea through the 6-step framework, we spend again a good ample amount of time where we focus on how the candidates or the participants will be able to convert your idea into a right problem statement. In the process, you will be able to, we will help you draft your own vision statement, your own mission statements, and you will also be able to name your company. And if you're really serious about starting your own, you will have guidance on registering your company right then and right there. And towards the end of the day one, it is basically a reflection of the entire day's learnings that we had on the day. We help you define roadmap for yourself, goal for yourself, so that they become a guiding torch for your next few months. If you think this is all that you get, let me tell you, the chief bank manager from State Bank of India is going to be present during the second day, right? Where he's going to talk about how aspiring entrepreneurs like you or existing entrepreneurs can leverage the funding tools that are put in place by the government of India through instruments like State Bank of India. So he's going to be there. He's going to give a 45-minute special session on funding related activities. These are the funds you can depend upon the banks without necessarily depending upon the angel investors or the VCs or PE firms. You will be able to get access to these funds directly from the bank. And the nitty-gritties of how and what will be taught by him directly or will be shared by him directly. As I told you, on day 2, we will focus more on innovation as a differentiator. Well, you might have an idea. Well, let me tell you, hundreds of people on the world will have an idea very similar to what you have conceived. But what's important is what is that innovation as a differentiator that you're able to bring? And again, we have a 2-step, well proven framework that helps you to go through this particular thing. And as you move towards, as you conduce, as you cohere, right, as you zero in towards your problem statement, you're bringing innovation as a differentiator. That's where you will need a lot of ability to make the right decisions to say yes and decisions to say no. And that is where we're going to spend quality time on power of taking the right decision, either in terms of your own objective decisions for your startup or in terms of emotional decisions for your people. And I would request once again, um, uh, 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 I would say Peter Samuel to kind of talk about this power of right decision making and what is it that the participants get to take away from here.
It's a very simple framework. 9 questions you'll be given to go through the best way of making decisions. Straightforward, simple questions. When you ask those questions and you get an answer to that question, you move on to another. And when you go through these 9 questions, you will be good at making the right decisions. As simple as that, but very, very helpful and handy.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you very much. Then again, as I told you, the most important element for any startup to succeed is to get the right product market fit. Bring the right product market fit, and you are, I would say, already a successful entrepreneur. But then how do you do that? Do you build the entire product and test its PMF? Or do you build only just the frameworks and test its framework for BMF? Well, that is where we help you to build your own MVP, the minimum viable product, the product that can offer the basic functionalities that you are committing to the market, right? And again, there is a framework that we have called PALMS. PALMS as a 5-step framework, again, through which you will be able to evaluate your product market fit. Right? Until now, you started with an overview of different industries, different geographies, where to, what to, etc. And then you came to another framework of developing your ideas, developing your concepts, and validating them. From the validation of your ideas, you came to a further niche of defining your problem statement. And from defining your problem statement, you came to a place on where you are defining your minimum viable product. And now, in a way, your startup journey to a certain extent is almost there. Now, what is important is how do you take your product to the market? A right go-to-market strategy can either build a product company or break a company. Again, we have a 2x2 matrix-driven framework. Through this framework, you will be able to design your own go-to-market strategy for your company. And then what we go into is developing the revenue streams and business models. Most often you think that when you design a product, when you design a service, when you build a company, you think you always have only one business model, but that's not the case ever at all. If you basically get into it, there are more than 17 revenue streams and 17 business models. We are going to learn each one of them in detail and pick from those 17 what are relevant for your business and for your company. And last and most important thing, as I told you, even when I was studying at MIT, one of my professor, who is the head of the MIT Innovation Labs, he makes a statement that the only proof whether your startup succeeds or not is a paying customer. That's what he says, right? Now, that is where we dwell very deep upon not only that you build a business model, how do you generate sales? This is where we talk about art and science of sales, developing sales right from B2B and B2C. And finally, towards the end of the day too, of course, you will have certificate distribution. Along with this, you will also have the tour of T-Hub. You will also have an exposure to different programs that are running in T-Hub and how you can enroll yourself into that particular T-Hub. And then what happens next? Well, it just doesn't stop there. We help you build your digital marketing strategies. We help you build, your strategies and arrive at what is your customer acquisition cost, what is your cost per lead, what is your cost per conversion, what is your click-through rate, whatsoever the business it is, be it a B2B, be it the SaaS product business or B2B or physical product business, doesn't really matter. We help you arrive at all of these things. Then we help you build your own lean canvas business model. Then we also guide you on how do you identify your founding team members. This is happening on 27th of Jan. And we explain you practically again through a proven skill and sync framework on how do you choose your co-founders or a founding team. Then the most important thing, very important before you go to any investors, is how do you define the right milestones for your company? How do you define business and financial fundamentals? Writing your own P&L statement, figuring out your own fundamentals, all of this. And the most important thing, my friends, many people think that I will set up a startup and I will go for a funding and be successful. Trust me. The biggest example for you is Zest Money. A startup that was valued at 480 crores at one point of time had to shut down last year, and the founder had to pick a job with Reliance Jio. It is not always important that you need to raise funds for you becoming successful. No, funding and being successful are two different things. You need funding provided you clear certain parameters, provided you qualify certain criteria. Now, what are those practical aspects of funding? Whether do you need to raise a fund? If at all you need to raise, when to raise, how to raise, are very much covered in detail in this particular session, including how do you value your own pre and post money? How do you define what value your company is valued at? Is done in detail. And last and most important thing is where we help you curate and create your own investor speech, where you will make your own investor speech and you're ready and you will be encouraged to present that to the workshop. And this happens on 3rd February. And on day 4, you are finally ready to launch your product and enterprise in your market. And you also will have a demo day on day 5 where all your programs, okay, how do you register for all of this, Mr. Rahul? I'm going to explain all of it. All of these, right? Look at the entire program, how it has been conceptualized, right? You are talking about an idea generation on day 1, that is on 19th of January. By probably 10th of Feb, even before a month's time, through this particular boot camp, you are able to build and launch your company. Isn't it exciting? Isn't it interesting? Yeah. Now you might ask, so what is your qualification? Who are you? How is it that you are able to make such bold statements that you make? Well, I am Rajiv Vayasar. I'm a faculty at Indian School of Business, Hyderabad. Well, whatsoever I have covered here, I do it for a semester to the students there. And I bring entrepreneurs. We bring entrepreneurs out of the student community. I'm a mentor on board with T-Hub and Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Thai Global, Usmania Technology Business Incubator, Telangana State Innovation Council, Startup Telangana, CAMSME, IIT Bombay Entrepreneurship Cell, Career Development Cell at IIT Madras, E-Cell at IIT Kharagpur. I also teach the same at Walks University. All of it into entrepreneurship and innovation. Some of the companies that I'm mentor right now, in which some of them I'm also an investor. Dow EVTech, it's a 2-wheeler electric manufacturing company. Novo Voltaic, it's a 3-wheeler charging infra company. The Blue Armor, it is a 2-wheeler helmet manufacturing company. Rizal Automotive, it's a traction motor manufacturing company. GrabBite, a food tech startup. Sunrise, an e company. Eto Motors, again an electric vehicle company. Gati Intellect, which is into skilling and training. As a CXO, I mean, majority of our details, my details, and my co-facilitator, Mr. Peter Samuel's details will be shared with you on different brochures. And these are some of the examples of where we have done a similar programs and workshops. This is with the Department of Post. This is a Thai chapter. This is with T-Hub Hyderabad. And all of these things that you see here, it is an ISB Hyderabad. Right? So how many of you are very keen to be part of this particular program? And look at this feedback that we got from ISB Hyderabad. A whopping 4.97 out of 5. Trust us, this was done as part of the program called the Chief Minister's Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program, where each participant was eligible for 1 to 1.5 CR funding. Trust me, after we introduced this particular program, the success rate of startups has grown up by 72%. 72%. This is the feedback that we are talking about. This is the feedback. Look at this. 5 out of 5. Right. Now, all of these things, again, it starts with a 2 days workshop at the world's largest incubator, T-Hub, followed by the intermittent intervention, weekly interventions until the 10th of Feb. So, Mr. Rahul Reddy, you are interested, our team will get in touch with you. And they will help you to onboard and register for this particular workshop. Others do you have any other questions? Any other questions on the workshops? We have almost come towards the end. Thank you very much, first of all, for your active participation and patiently staying through despite a tiring work day at your end. I'm sure this 1.5 hour or 1 hour that you spent with us added immense value to you. Right now, we are opening it up for questions. Any questions that you have, please feel free to put them on the chat box. Oh, very interesting to see our senior, Murali Krishna Garu, very, very good evening. How are you doing? Are you back from the US? So, for all of you, Mr. Murali Krishna, in fact, he's a very, very senior gentleman. He's from IIT Madras, and right now he heads IIT PALS. Again, PALS also does great job encouraging entrepreneurs among the student community. Murali Krishna Garu, can you please come onto the screen if it is okay? May I request you to switch on your video and switch on your chat?
Uh, so it's a morning to me. It's a great beginning of the day when I was just looking into the our WhatsApp message. I saw you. Then immediately I great, and it is very interesting aspect that you are dealing, and I think I wish the best. And I specifically mention all the participants here that Rajiv is one of the the torchbearers in this area, and I happen to know him for the last couple of years, and certainly I'll say whatever is meant is what is going to happen. Please take it forward, and certainly I look forward for certain things of in the same manner, much with more confidence. All the best.
Thank you.
I'm
Thank you. When are you coming to India?
I'm coming on 25th January. 25th
Okay.
January.
Let's catch up.
So
We have been missing you.
it will. And I'm certainly motivated. I wish I should become 40 years younger to be with about part of all of you.
Thank you very much, Murali Krishna Garu.
All the best. Take care.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you. Anybody
Thank you.
would like to open up and then speak on your experience on this particular 1 hour program that we have so far? Mr. Anirudh, Ms. Ratnakumari, Mr. Shivkumar, please feel free. Let me know. I can allow you to switch on your videos and audios and share what is it that, if at all you gained if at all you gained something. So, Mr. Shivkumar, I'm asking you to unmute. If at all you gained something, yeah, please.
Yes, sir. Just I learned so how to start up that entrepreneurial journey.
Uh-huh.
For that, what we need to learn and what we need to practice, and what are the precautions to take it. So that's I learned from just idea for this seminar. Okay.
Fantastic,
Thank you,
fantastic.
sir.
Hope
Thank
to see you. Hope to see you in the boot camp.
Okay.
Ms. Ratnakumari, would you like to, or Ms. Likita, Mr. Anirudh, anybody would like to share what is it that you have learned? I hope this is value adding to you. Yeah, you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, I'm just here to hear you speak. I'm also an IIT Madras alumni.
Hey,
I'm
Anirudh,
really
nice.
the work that you've been doing for the last decade or so. So really fascinated by your work. So I'm just here to listen you speak and motivate others.
Hey, which batch, Anirudh? Which batch ITM?
Masters 2007 to 9.
2007 to 9. We were in the campus together then.
Yes. Yes.
Very nice, Anirudh. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Hope to see you in the boot camp. Mr. Chakradhar, Ms. Ratnakumari, Ms. Likita, Ms. Poonam, Mr. Saurav, anybody would like to come forward? Mr. Chandan, please go ahead. You can unmute yourself. The permissions have been given. Great. If there are no, I would say, feedbacks, thank you very much, guys. It is great connecting with all of you. We are doing this particular program on 19th and 20th of Jan. Our team will get in touch with you post this particular thing, explaining you how to move forward. Yeah, so team, please get in touch with Mr. Chandan and Mr. Rahul immediately so that you can help them onboard on this particular program. Again, 2 days of non-stop fun in creating your company, your startup, and we are all there to support you. We want you really to succeed, because if India were to become a $5 trillion economy, it needs all of us to be big partakers of it. And we are here to create that wealth and that value. Thank you very much. Anna, any last comments from your end?
No. I think you summed it beautifully. Hopefully, we'll see a couple of you on the 19th and 20th.
Fantastic, guys. Thank you. And if at all you are starting up as a group, I think this is the best opportunity for you as a co-founding team to come together and to experience this the entrepreneurial bootcamp, Sales First Entrepreneurial Bootcamp. So don't miss it. And thank you very much, Anirudh, joining, and thank you very much, Murali Garu, joining from our IT Madras group. Take care. Good night. God
Thank
bless
you
you.
all.
All the very best. Bye bye.